Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome to chapter 26. I know we kind of went out of order. We did chapter 25, which was the Cold War. And then we went on to chapter 27, which was the Vietnam War. And those two chapters kind of went together. So now that they're done, I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at chapter 26, which is the Civil Rights Movement. And this chapter will take us into June for a test in the first week of June, probably around June 2nd, 3rd, 4th, around but let's get to that later. Um, the keywords, the objectives, the vocabulary was posted yesterday. All right, so please make sure you check those out. There was no homework on that. Just look at them. There'll be no homework today. All right, you guys just took a chapter 27 test. All right, you'll have a homework next week, couple next week. All right, but nothing right now, nothing for this. So I'm going to post this worksheet in the classroom. You don't have to do it on the sheet if you don't want. You don't have to print it if you don't want. However, some stuff is going to be on your test. Separate but equal will be on your test. The NAACP, Thurgood Marshall, integration, Jackie Robinson, all that stuff will be on your test. All right, so I'm going to go over this. I'm going to post this sheet. I'm going to post the notes, the answers, as I go over it all. And then I will post this video clip so you hear me going over it as well, as we discuss a couple things here to get chapter 26 going. Again, no homework. Enjoy your weekend after you watch this. We'll get back into it on Monday. All right. To go over a couple of things. All right. And again, we're going to start with the slideshow here. All right. So you can follow me. All right. We're really going to kind of go back here a little bit. All right. And talk about what African Americans and minorities in the South were facing. Okay. Following, we're not going to go as far back as the Civil War. All right. You guys know that already. We did that in Reconstruction. We did it when we talked about Dubois in Washington. We talked about Eleanor Roosevelt and her push for civil rights. Okay. We talked about that stuff. We're going to kind of bring it back to the Jim Crow laws of the South, segregation. Okay. Plessy v. Ferguson, the court case that said as long as you have the same facility separated by race, they could be considered equal, which is an oxymoron if I've ever heard one. Separate but equal, the two words don't exist in a sentence together. However, from 1898 until 1964, I'll go even 1954, even with the Board of Ed decision that we'll get into later, that's going to be the law in the South. So you could have public transportation, hospitals, schools, all right, theaters, restaurants, separated by race. And this is going to be in the South, the Jim Crow laws as they're known. Okay. And when we talk South, we're talking the red right here. All right. You're deep South. All right. If you remember back to chapter 14 and 15 of your seventh grade years and even chapter 15 review with me this year, you would have noticed that this right here is the South of the Civil War. All right. These states are the ones who seceded with the exception of West Virginia. All right. They are the ones that are going to break away in Kentucky too. All right, but they keep segregation laws. In the North, no. In the South, yes. And the next couple pictures are simply segregation as they existed. All right, 1950s. I'm not cut and pasting photos of things that aren't true. This is not propaganda. All right, these are actual photos. All right, you'll see a movie theater with the colored admission through the back door. Okay, Dade County Park, Virginia Beach, colored only. Beaches separated based on race. Water fountains based on race. Laundromats based on race. Restaurants based on race. Okay? Classrooms. How sad is this? All right, this gentleman's looking for an equal educational opportunity and can't get it because of laws that were existed in the United States up until 1954, and we will dive more on that later. So these are all actual pictures. Okay? Colored passengers has the ride the rear of the bus. We'll dive more into that when we get into Rosa Parks. Again, real signs, real photos of America, 1900 segregation South. Okay, here's another one. The court case Plessy v. Ferguson, incredibly important. Okay, this goes back to chapter 16, maybe. All right, that the court case of separate but equal. I just went over that. Separate but equal. Schools, public places, restaurants, laundromats, movie theaters, water fountains, public parks, beaches could be separated based on race in the South. Okay? By the 1950s, you're going to see a group, and this is number 5, known as the NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, who are going to begin equality, arguing equality in the Supreme Court, not in the streets, not violent protests, not massive gatherings, by law. Okay, and the first thing they attack is going to be the grandfather clause, that old rule that goes back to 1865. Boom, they get it taken out of the Constitution. Okay, major victory. All right, here's their sign. Okay, this is Plessy v. Ferguson. Okay, you guys can read that. Give me a second to read it. You are all educated. I do not need to read it for you. All right. The NAACP is also going to introduce us to an amazing individual, Thurgood Marshall, who is the lawyer for the NAACP. And he's going to be the biggest advocate in the Supreme Court for equal rights based under the law. And his number one thing is the 14th Amendment. Okay? Slavery, citizenship, the right to vote. If you remember, those are the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendments. Slavery is outlawed. All Americans are citizens born in the United States, and all people have the right to vote. So the 14th Amendment gives the NAACP huge arguments in court to say, no matter what race you are, if you are born in the United States, you are an American citizen, and therefore, under the 14th Amendment, you are protected by the Constitution and have rights. And those rights, those Jim Crow laws in the South of racial segregation, don't exist. Okay, and that's going to be their case. We're going to go back into that more later on, and I got to give you other examples of this, but we're laying the foundation for what becomes the modern day 1950, early 60s civil rights movement. Okay, one of the most famous people during the obviously early 1940s, Jackie Robinson. All right, first African American baseball player, just to play baseball. All right, his family received death notices. Um, fans would throw things at him, yell at him, scream at him. The movie 42 is based on Jackie Robinson's life. Fantastic movie. All right, about what he faced on an everyday basis just to play baseball based on his skin color. Okay, he broke the color barrier of baseball, and is one of the most iconic baseball players of all time because of such. All right, here is Thurgood Marshall. All right, here he is as the lawyer for the NAACP. He's also going to be the first African American on the Supreme Court. Okay, President Johnson will appoint him to the United States Supreme Court. All right, in the 1960s, 64 or 5, around there. Okay, starts out as the lawyer. He will be the lawyer who argues for Brown v. Board of Education. We'll talk more about that later. Here he is as a Supreme Court justice. Here's Jackie Robinson. All right, winning his MVP. I actually won the MVP. I don't remember the year. I think 47 he broke in. I want to say like 49 maybe. All right, I could be wrong on that, but I do know he won the MVP, and went on to break the color barrier for baseball, which is awesome. Okay. Um, One of the things that also happens by 1948 is President Truman. Okay, so I have a picture of him here. Yep. All right, will actually integrate the Army. Okay, so by 1948-50, the civil rights movement is starting to pick up. All right, President Truman will integrate the Army. All right, no more separation of the Army based on skin color, race, ethnicity, gender, none of that. Okay, are females allowed to fight in the military during this time? No. All right, but as far as based on race, yes, the military is now integrated. So think about this. All right, we're getting into the 1950s, and I haven't gotten into Rosa Parks and Dr. King and Malcolm X and the Little Rock Nine and James Meredith. I haven't done any of that yet. Okay, but you have Harry Truman integrating the Army. You've got Jackie Robinson integrating baseball, and you've got Thurgood Marshall arguing court cases under the 14th Amendment that separation based on race is illegal. Okay, so you kind of have the foundation of this as we get into the Dr. King years. Okay, so again, you don't have to do homework. All right, this is simply the sheet. Look at it. You want to print it, fill it in, great. Okay, the answers are on there. All right, Separate but equal will be on your test. The NAACP will be on your test. Thurgood Marshall, Jackie Robinson, okay, will all be on your test. So please, I'm not giving you homework on this, but I am telling you what's going to be on your test. All right? So look at the sheet, look at the answers, listen to the video, and that should catch you up for this one. Have a great weekend. We will pick back up with this obviously on Monday, and we'll continue on with the civil rights movement. All right, guys, have a great day.